the Nelly is 13 years old, therefore we are going to represent it as follows. We have got about 3 equations there that look a bit different, or that are different rather. And I want you to think carefully about the correct equation that you can use when it comes to Nelly's age vis-a-vis that of her brother. The first equation, as you can see, 1, I've said that P is equal to 13 minus 7, and then P plus 7 is equal to 13. And of course, the last one is 13 minus P is equal to 7. Now,
so you don't have another host where, for example,
sorry to disturb you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, yes. I'm asking you to record the lesson. Can you record on
Yes,
your...
I'm recording.
Oh, you're recording.
Well, all the hosts are
Okay.
we live in the same.
I'm recording on cloud, man. I don't know if it can record on the computer because
Oh,
the
yes.
space might. Can I record on cloud?
Okay, no, it's fine as well.
Is it fine?
Okay, yes, thanks.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's recording. It's recording.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you. Right, as we proceed, we are just demonstrating here that in Nelly's age, as we were saying, we need to now choose the correct equation. And in this case, the correct equation will be found. We've got 3 different equations. The first one is P is equal to 13 minus 7. And then, of course, P plus 7 is equal to 13. The last one is 13 minus P is equal to 7. So which one is it going to be? Which one is it going to be? So what will be the correct equation to use in this case? What we know, as I said, just to take you back, we know that, we know that Nelly is 13 years old. That is the first information that we have. But we also know that she is 7 years older than her brother. So if her brother's age is P, what will be the formula that you are going to use to describe the relationship between their age? So Nelly is 13 years old, her brother is 7 years old. Now I just want you to describe the relationship, in terms of the equation. And in this case, I've given you about 3 of the equations which you can use. And of course, that is very important, just to give us the 3 equations and choose one rather. So you need to choose the correct equation which can describe the relationship. And I've decided to give you 3 of those. So before we can carry on with those, I just want you, the group chat is open. So please feel free at any time just to type your answer if you have thought about it. I hope you have a pen and a paper. This is not something that you can do by inspection. Of course, there are learners who can do this by inspection. You can be able to do this by inspection, but I prefer that you take out your pen and a paper just to write it down and be able to demonstrate how have you worked it out. So I think that it will be good if you demonstrate the relationship between these numbers by just writing them down. Now, I'm just gonna zoom directly into the first one. So you can see that the first one says P, and P is the brother's age. P is equal to 13, which is Nelly's age, and then minus 7. So 13 minus 7, that is the first one there, that is the brother's age. And of course, the other one says P plus 7 is equal to 13. All right. And then the last one says 13 minus P. 13 minus P is equal to 7. And of course, we have those three. So if you look at the first equation, 13 minus 7, Nelly is 13 years old now. And we know that Nelly is 7 years older than her brother. So this means that her brother is younger and she's older. She's 7 years older than her brother. So if you subtract 7 from 13, what do you get? Obviously, you'll get 6. So now, this actually means that if you have 6, if the brother is 6 years old, meaning that if P is 6, and we know that Nelly is 7 years older, obviously if you add 7 to 6, you get 13. So that should be the correct answer. P is equal to 13 minus 7. So the brother's age will be represented in that equation there. 13 subtract 7, which is 6. Remember, we know that Nelly is 7 years older than her brother. So if her brother is 6 years old, then Nelly will be 13 years old because you simply add the 7. And then if you look at the second equation, P plus 7, which is 13, again, you can see that we are demonstrating here that P, the value of P can only be 6, because if you add 6 and 7, you get 13. So P plus 7 equals 13. That too is the correct equation to represent the relationship between the ages of Nelly and her brother. The last one says 13 minus P is equal to 7. And of course, if you take P to the right-hand side, it will change the sign, it will be positive. And if you take 7 from the right-hand side to the left-hand side, it will change the sign, it will be 13 minus 7. So that equation as well is correct. So you can choose any of the above. So any of those equations will be correct. So there are different ways of writing these equations. So if they tell you demonstrate or write down the correct equation, which will show the difference between Nelly's age and that of her brother, you can use any of these equations. You can use either the first one, the second one, or the third one. So that's the first thing. And I hope that it makes sense. Right, we are now going to proceed to the number patterns. And then, of course, I'm giving you the patterns here. You've got 4, 9, and 14. That's those are the terms. That is the number pattern, 4, 9, and 14. So in this case, all that I want you to do now is to find what is the first term. You must just tell me what is the first term there, and then write down the next 3 terms. And then you can explain how did you work out the 4th term, as well as the general rule, and then we will use that rule in the last question. By the way, the assessments will still proceed next week sometime. We are still just carrying on with our lessons this week. We were just informed that the assessments will be postponed. So we are going to now continue with our lessons for the next, for the whole week now. Can we now carry on with the first term? The group chat is active there. It's quite open. You can just put in your number there if you know what the first term is. If you know what the first term is, and of course, let's look at that. what is the first term? What is the first term? The first term there should be given there, and of course, let us carry on to reflect on that. The first term, okay, Tiana says that the first term is 4. Yes, I fully agree with you. The number pattern consists of 3 terms as of now, and the first term is 4. That's how you answer the question. So now write down the next 3 terms now that you have the first term. Can you write down, now that you know what the first term is, can we write down the next 3 terms? What will be the next 3 terms? The next 3 terms? Write down the next 3 terms. Right, Tiana once again says that the next 3 terms will be, see you wrote 4, 9, 14, that those are the first, and then followed by 19. And then from 19, you went to 24. Then from 24, all right, from 24, you went to 29. Great. Huapili, and I see Angelina Dube, in fact, was able to give us the next 3 terms as 19, 24, and 29. So correct. That is the correct value there, because I see you've been able to also check what the next term will be in terms of the constant difference. Huapili says the next term will be 24. Okay, right. Then Tiana as well says 24. Right. You have written the next 3 terms. I'm impressed. Now, can you explain how did you work out the 4th term? I just want someone to explain. Tiana has already answered that. Tiana says, I just added 5. Okay, so you added 5. You had 24 there. In fact, you had 14, and then plus 5 gave you 19. Yes. So the 4th term is 19, and all that you need to do is to add 5. So I hope that you can see that 5 there is the constant difference. Now that we have added the constant difference there, of which is 5, in C, can we now write down the general rule? Now, the general rule is something that some of the learners may find difficult to do, but of course, you can be able to write this general rule. And remember, the general rule will be able to help us to find any other term. Do you remember what I said about the general rule? The general rule can be able to find, we can use it to find, to prove that 99 is the 20th term. So let's write down the general rule. Can we find the general rule? Let's find the general rule there. Remember, that one is the first term. 4 is the term 1. Remember, I said what is the first term, and then you said the first term is 4. That is what you said, and then followed by 9, followed by 14. So the first term is 4. Remember what I said previously? I see Huapili says you add 5. Okay, fine. I agree with you. But now, can you be able to prove that the 99th term, in fact, that the 99 is the 20th term? How are you going to prove that? You need a rule. In other words, you need an equation. I want it in the form of an equation, not just to you have got X and Y values. You remember the position of the terms? I said first term there, position 1, and then you can tell that the first term is, I see Savannah says, okay, Tiana says 4 plus 5 equals 9, and then Savannah says 1 times 1, okay, times 1 plus 1, and then Tiana is not sure of the answer, right? I can see that you probably forgot how to find the rule. Now I'm going to teach you, or I'm going to remind you rather. I said to you in the last or previous lessons that all that you need to do, you need a table. You can represent this pattern in a table where you've got a position, and then you also have the term will be 9. Position 3, the term is 14, as reflected there at the top. So all that you need to do, you must use that constant difference. And you are going to take the constant difference and multiply it by position 1. All right. So position 1 is 1, obviously. That's the first position. We'll say 5 times 1 equals 5. And then our first term is 4. So to get to 4, it means you must subtract 1. So you'll have 5, you'll multiply 5 by the input, which is 1, and then you get 5, and then minus 1 is 4. And then to get to the second one, you'll multiply 5 by 2 to get 10. And 10 minus 1 is 9. So can you see that our rule will be y is equal to 5x minus 1. That will be the rule. So y will be equal to 5x minus 1. Now we need to use this rule to prove that 99 is the 20th term. Remember, the first term is 4. Now, in this case, the 20th term, we're told, is 99. So in order to prove that 99 is equal to, is the 20th term, you will have to multiply 5 by 20 and then subtract 1. So let's test whether that is true or not. What is 5 times 20? What is 5 times 20? 5 times 20 is 100. Okay, Angelina Dube says 100. And then what is 100 minus 1? 100 minus 1 is 99. Can you see that the rule works? It means that the rule that we have is correct. Remember that the rule says you multiply the input value by the constant difference, which is 5, and then you subtract the number 1 to get to the term. So in term 1, for instance, which is 4. 4 is the first term. So you multiply 5 by 1 to get 5, and then minus 1 to get 4. I hope that you understand this rule. If not, please feel free at any time to inform me, and then I can explain it again if you can. Please feel free at any time, just to make sure that we will be able to carry on. So we have to now proceed to the next activity. And then the next activity there, we have a table which represents the relationship between X and Y. And then the equation that is given there is Y is equal to 2x plus 3. So before we can carry on with the next questions, I just want you to check all the values. Can you see the X and Y values? I want you to prove that when X is 5, Y is 13. Can you prove that? Prove that when X is 5, the value of Y is 13 by using the equation. Just use it on the, oh, okay, iPhone says, could you please re-explain? Okay, let me re-explain the last term there, or the rule once again. remember we have to represent this in a form of a table, like the following table that we have. You can see you've got the input values and the output values. So in this case, our pattern is 4, 9, 14. That is our pattern. And then when we expanded, you expanded that. From 14, you had 19, you had 24, and then you had 29. So those are the terms. But remember that the first term is 4. So when you represent this in the form of a table, you need to demonstrate that 1, you'll have position 1, position 2, 3, 4, etc. In position 1, meaning that the input, if the input value is 1, the output value is 4. If the input value is 2, then the output value is and so on and so forth. So that's how you, by looking at the particular terms, and then of course you can use the rule to find the 20th term. I hope that will carry on. So right now here, I've just asked you to tell me, to show that if X is 5, then Y is 13. Please use this. I'm giving you just 30 seconds to do that. Is that all that we need to do now is to add 2. I'm talking about the equation there, right? Okay. Tiana says, I'm confused with this one. All right, fine. Let me explain this now. You can see we have an equation. I'm sure you can see the equation, which is y is equal to x plus 3. And then